to estrogen. And the big question in that podcast was, which cancer is caused by estrogen, uterine or breast? And you learned that uterine cancer is most definitely caused by estrogen, but you learned that breast cancer is not caused by estrogen. Once again, most women have their facts completely upside down. Most women think estrogen causes breast cancer. Do you see the problems with all these diseases? If you don't have your facts straight, I can guarantee you that things are going to get a whole lot worse at menopause. So uterine cancer is caused by estrogen, and you prevent it by taking progesterone. Okay, now for ovarian cancer. Ovarian cancer is rare. It occurs in 1 out of 70 women. And most of those cases are due to a genetic mutation. The problem with ovarian cancer is that there are no early warning signs. There is no screening test. Most cases are already very advanced when they're discovered, and there is no easy cure. So while your risk for ovarian cancer is low, it is a very deadly disease. What most women don't seem to realize is that most of the risk factors for breast cancer are also risk factors for ovarian cancer. So it's kind of odd that everyone's running around worrying about breast cancer but not ovarian cancer. There are bunches of things you can do to reduce your risk for both of them. And a lot of them have to do with your diet and lifestyle. Oddly, though, most women don't want to do the things that can reduce their risks for both of them. Most of them won't do them. For example, eating a 100% plant-based diet, or exercising regularly, or maintaining ideal body weight, or omitting alcohol. See what I mean? How many of those things do you do? And I'm not saying that they'll guarantee prevention, but they will greatly reduce. Okay, the last disease that gets worse at menopause is Alzheimer's. And the reason it gets worse is because your estrogen is what protects you from Alzheimer's. And when you lose your estrogen at postmenopause, your risk for Alzheimer's skyrockets. But there's something else that greatly increases your risk. Not challenging your brain. And see, this is another area where most women simply won't do what it takes to decrease their risk. I've taught you about this in previous podcasts. When I say challenge your brain, what comes to mind? You know, most adults don't challenge their brains much. Most adults stay within their comfort zones. We get very lazy about even using our brains as we age. And really challenging it is almost unheard of. How many adults do you know who are going to school to learn something entirely new? How many adults do you know that are learning a new language or learning how to play a brand new instrument? You see what I mean? Kids do this stuff their entire childhood. Why? Why do we stop doing these things once we become adults? Failing to challenge your brain with new and different and difficult things is the very reason your risk for Alzheimer's gets worse at menopause. But again, when I tell people this, they respond with comments like, well, I still read, or I still work part-time. The problem is that reading is passive. You don't have to work your brain. You're just looking at words on a page. And working in the same capacity that you have throughout your career is not new, different, or difficult to your brain. I mean, it may keep your brain busy, but it does not do enough to preserve your brain. You have to do the new, different, and difficult things. Challenge your brain. Get outside of your comfort zone. So there you have it. 6 diseases. They get worse at menopause. And women are focusing on all the wrong ones and refusing to do what they can to prevent the avoidable ones. I just love podcasts like this that help put things in perspective for you. When I talk about just one disease at a time, you don't get the same sense of comparison. In all of my educational materials, I go through each disease individually, and I teach you everything about each disease. I do great big units, and this is so that you know how to determine if you're at risk for each one. And I give you all the options in every category for decreasing your risks. I mean, I help you tailor everything to yourself individually. It's very, very powerful to have that knowledge of individual diseases. And I will do the same thing in these podcasts. But if you want to learn all this stuff in a way that helps you understand the relative perspectives, getting this kind of education where I compare one to the other is where it's all about. So you want to learn all this stuff no matter what. If you need to learn it quickly, go watch my webinars in order. There's nothing else like the webinars to get the education very quickly. The earlier you get the education, the better the rest of your life is going to be. Or maybe you prefer to learn what you need to learn and have it applied specifically to you. That is precisely what I do in my consultations. And all you do to schedule a consultation with me is you go to menopausetailor.me and you schedule it. You pick your date, your time, everything. And I give you the opportunity to tell me everything about yourself. And then I tailor everything to you. And I send you this huge document that has all the background education. I make sure you understand all this stuff. These documents aren't short. These documents that I send you, the document I send you, because I'm only going to send you one, but the document I send you will be about 50, 60 pages long. It's not a short, sweet little 2-pager thing. But it will have all this information, and it'll have your personal information woven into it so that you get to see how everything applies to you. That is the magic of this education. So you need the basic education. You need to know about everything individually. You need to see how things compare to each other, but you also need to tailor everything to you. That is how you manage your menopause your way. You cannot just do what someone else is doing. Don't copy other women. Don't even care what other women are doing. Just understand that it requires an education. This is not a quick fix thing. People sometimes say, what's the best thing to do? And I'm like, there's no such answer for that question. There's nothing best for everybody. Everyone's different. Had you not figured that out already? So the key is to know the facts, but then apply them to you. The facts, the science, that's just basic for everybody. But how it applies to you is different for everybody. That is the magic of this education. That is why I love teaching, and that is why I direct it directly to you so that you can learn this and apply it to you yourself and your own situation, and you can change it as you go along because you're not a robot and things will change along the way. So I love doing these podcasts. I love giving you this education. Please take full advantage of it by going to menopausetailor.me and see all the different resources I have. And I will tell you goodbye today, and I'll see you next time for the next series, next podcast in the series on what happens at menopause. Bye.